Hello everybody, I'm Chris Provost. You're watching Provost Park Pass. And today's video, I'm talking about Mickey Mouse going into public domains. I'm getting so many questions, but before we even get to that, I have to say this. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You want to hit the subscribe button and notification bell because tonight on January 2nd, 2024, I'm going to be going live and giving away these amazing Mickey ears. And you have a chance to win these on the live stream tonight. You have to be a subscriber to the channel and a chance to win these. And I'll be doing that tonight. So make sure you're subscribed so you have a chance to win this. And wherever you win, if you win this, I will mail them to you for free. I'll mail them to you. You don't have to pay for anything, no matter where you are in the world. So good luck. So make sure you are subscribed to our channel for the live stream tonight. All right. I have a ton of Disneyland videos that are planned to come out this week, but I am getting a lot of emails from people and a lot of messages from people asking about what is going on with Mickey Mouse in the public domain. I don't understand it. They're seeing lots of sensational news stories. People are like, Mickey Mouse in the public domain. And they're like, is Disney mad? Is Disney angry? So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what exactly is going on. It's not as big a deal as a lot of people are making it out to be, I think. First off, we need to know what is the public domain. Number two, why do we even need to have a public domain? What is the Mickey Mouse Protection Act? And what can you do with Mickey Mouse now that he's going into public domain? All right. First of all, we need to talk about what is the public domain. Public domain really kind of is a place where all these great ideas can reside in. Anybody can use them. And it originally started in Rome. Of course, it started in Rome. And the idea when it first started in Rome was that they felt there was these inalienable rights that people had. Sunshine, the ocean, and air. People are like, you cannot own that stuff. Everybody gets to have that stuff. So I put it in this little forum there that says, this is people, everybody gets that. And then as time went on, they're like, hey, you know what? We got these great scientific ideas. Let's put them in there so anybody can have these in these public areas, public forum. Anybody can use them. There's no restriction. And that was really kind of the beginning of the public domain. But they just called it the public or the public forum, right? What was going on. So then what ended up, let's kind of scoop ahead here to around the 17th century in Britain. This is when the first copyright laws started to appear, where people were starting to get upset. They're like, hey, if I create something, if I write a story or I compose music, I can't just have the next day have a person take my music or my stories and then them profiting off of them. That's not fair. That's my work. So they started doing these copyright laws saying that, okay, if you create something, it's protected for a determined amount of time. And nobody else can use that, just you. And so that way it was this copyright law. But then people were like, well, hey, you know what? There's a problem with that is after a while, we should put that in the public forum area because, you know, like people, they can only control something for so long. We need to keep growing and growing. So then after a while, they started to say, okay, after a certain amount of time, we'll take something you have created. Yes, you created it, but it needs to go into this public forum, this public domain. Now, they didn't call it a public domain at all time. They just called it like the public or the publics or something like that. But what ended up happening is that, I think this is great, is that it was a French poet. A French poet is the first time we ever used the term public domain, and this was in the 1800s. I'm sorry, the mid 1900s, and it was a French poet, Alfred de Vigny. He equated the expiration of copyright with the work falling into the sinkhole of public domain. He's like, yeah, when the copyright expires, it goes in the sinkhole of public domain. Now, there are some people who are against public domain, and some people are for public domain. Some people are saying, hey, if I create it, I should have that in perpetuity. But other people are like, no, you can't. That's not to benefit all of mankind. It needs to go into this public domain so other people can actually benefit from that. So, for example, if I created a patent or created something that some like great scientific discovery, if we didn't ever have the public domain, I would have that for perpetuity and nobody could ever use that. And so they're saying that's not the right thing to do. So the way the public domain worked, it used to work like this, is if I was an individual and I created something, let's say like the Mona Lisa, a symphony, I wrote a story, I created a character like Mickey Mouse, whatever, and I was a person, that it would stay for 50 years after I died, then it would go into the public domain. So once I died, 50 years later, it would go in the public domain. Now, if I was a corporation and we created something, I think they enjoyed 70 years of after you created that thing. Well, Disney led a thing called the Mickey Mouse Protection Act. And it really wasn't called the Mickey Mouse Protection Act, but that's what everybody knows it as, because I think it was done in 1999, or maybe it was 1989. I get those confused. But Disney lobbied very hard, and other corporations lobbied, saying that 70 years wasn't a long enough time. So what they ended up doing is they extended it. The government granted an extension. So they said if you were an individual and you created something, then it would go into public domain 70 years after you died, okay? 70 years after you died. And then if I was a corporation and we created something, it would go into public domain 95 years after it was created. Now, that's exactly what's happened with Disney. So Disney did this. They pushed that. They extended that out. And finally, the government's like, we can't go any longer than that. That's getting absurd. That's as long as it can go. And that was known as the Mickey Mouse Protection Act because they were trying to protect the Mickey Mouse, right? Well, now it's 95 years. And the Steamboat Willie version, that's what's important. There's a lot of misinformation. It's just the Steamboat version of Mickey Mouse, the 1928 version. You know, we've all seen him. He's like at the steering wheel, the boat's going along. That version of Mickey Mouse is now in the public domain. And there's also another cartoon that came out called Plane Crazy, where Mickey Mouse has big eyes like this. That was created in 1928. That version of Mickey Mouse also goes into the public domain. But I'm really going to be focusing here on Steamboat Willie because that's the most common one. Everybody seems to know that one. Just that version. He's not wearing any white gloves yet. It's at the black body, whatever. Only that version of Steamboat Willie is in the public domain. All the other ones, like the Fantasmic, where he's got the wizard hat, the color versions, all these things, those are not yet in the public domain. Just the Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse. That is it. That is it. It's the only version of Mickey Mouse that is in the public form. The public... in the public domain. Now, as people are like, why do we need a public domain? There are some people, and there's a really intelligent lady. Her name is Pamela Samuelson, and she's kind of, she knows a lot about the public domain more than, I'm just doing a light dusting. She's hyper intelligent. But she says there are 8 reasons why societies need to have a public domain. Like, there are 8 massive benefits. And here they are. Number 1, it's the building blocks for creation of new knowledge. Number 2, it gives access to cultural heritage through information, such as the Greek manuscripts and Greek texts and like Mozart's symphonies. People can listen to that and work on that without having to worry about anything. Number 3, it promotes education through the spread of information and ideas. Number 4, enabling flow of information and innovation. For example, expired patents. If I create a patent that's expired, people can then take that patent and make it even better. Number 5, enables low-cost access to information without the need to locate the owner, so let them know, hey, I'm going to be using your information. Number 6, it promotes public health and safety through information scientific principles. Number 7, it's promoting the democratic values and processes through news, laws, regulation, and judicial opinion. And number 8, it enables competitive imitation through the example of expired patents and copyright. And that's a big one. It enables competitive imitation. So a company comes up with something, and when that patent expires, then people can look at that patent and come up with even better ideas on how to improve upon it, so we're not stagnant. And so now we do have these the public domain where anybody can use this stuff. Like the Mona Lisa, it's in public domain. We can all like create the Mona Lisa and whatever you want to do with it. And like Beethoven's and Mozart's and all these different things. Those are in the public domain. Now, Mickey Mouse is a big one. So people are talking about it because it's a big propriety because it's still very relevant, right? Still very relevant. People are still talking about Mickey Mouse and Disney and all that. So that's why it's getting spun up on the news. But Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse isn't the only one to enter public domain this year. Peter Pan is entered a public domain. Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. Tigger now is in public domain. So people can use those types of things. Now, what does this mean? Like, what can you and can you not do with the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse? You can pretty much do anything, really. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be calling it, this is what's going to happen. Guaranteed. People are going to try to shock off of the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse. And they're going to try to get these things out as fast as possible. You're going to see, we're going to see a horror movie, I'm sure, coming out with Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse being a killer. We're going to see video games with Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse being the main person. You're going to see lots of people on Etsy who have Etsy stores selling all of their stuff, all of their stuff on Etsy has shirts with Steamboat Willie on it. Can they do that? Absolutely, no problem. They can do that. You would do pretty much anything you want now with the Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse. Okay, but what can't you do with the Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse? What you can't do is I cannot use that product in a way that misleads consumers into thinking that the product is produced and sponsored by Disney. If I used to do that, then I could get into a world of trouble. If I'm just creating it and just doing it for myself, that's fine. But if I all of a sudden was like, hey, this is, Disney's sponsoring this, blah, 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 then yeah, you would get in a lot of trouble for that. That's a no-no. But other than that, the sky's the limit. You can pretty much use the Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse for whatever you want. Now, people are asking, like, is Disney upset by this? I don't really think Disney's too upset by this. They protected Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse as long as they could. And they have these other versions, like the Minnie and Mickey Mouse, Minnie and Mickey's Runaway Railway. That's a brand new version of Mickey as what? It's like 5 years old. So that version of Mickey won't enter into public domain for another like 90 years or so. And I think it's really interesting, though, that because Disney, to be honest with you, this is how they made everything. They used public domain. They went into public domain, they rummaged around, they found the stories, and then they redid them and created brand new stories for the new generation. That's what they did. They have rummaged through public domain more than anybody else, it seems like. Let's see here. What have they done? Frozen was inspired by Hans Christian Andersen. The Lion King draws from Shakespeare's Hamlet. Let's see. Here we got Sorcerer's Apprentice. We've got Alice in Wonderland, Snow White, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, The Little Mermaid, Pinocchio. All of those came from the public domain. They saw the stories. They grabbed those stories because anybody used them, and they kind of updated them and made a modern classic out of these stories. And everybody now associates all these stories with Disney. But hey, these stories are written a long time ago, and Disney just took them from public domain and created new things. And so now people can do that with Steamboat Willie. You can absolutely do that. And you're going to see like tons of stuff. I mean, people are going to create everything about Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse. All of it's going to be, some of it be shock value, some of it be fun, some of it be cool, whatever. It can be anywhere they want. And I feel like the news right now is sensational like this. Like I'll see all these headlines like, Mickey Mouse is in the public domain. Kind of. Just the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse. The other ones are still protected at this time. So I'm just letting you know. And that's what Disney does. They go in to use the public domain for their own point. So why can't we do it? You absolutely can. Hey, don't forget, tonight I'm going live. I rarely do live streams, guys. It's a rarity for me to do live streams. On January 2nd, I'll be going live, giving away these amazing Mickey ears that we had created. So in order to be notified when I go live, you need to be subscribed. Hit this little subscribe button. There's a little bell notification there. If you turn that on, when I go live, you will be notified. It's like Provost Park Pass is live. You're like, oh, he's live. And you jump on. And if you like this video and you learned something, hit the like button to let us know that you like these types of videos. You guys are awesome. Have a fantastic 2024. This is going to be a really good year, guys. It's going to be one of your best years you've ever had. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You are amazing. All right, guys, let's go rock it in 2024.